Oh boy, back in the greenhouse. So much is happening lately. We've been picking a few tomatoes as they've been ripening. They're starting to ripen in clusters now. We're really getting the hot weather. I have to admit, they really taste sweet. Very sweet. You can see here they're doing really well. I believe we took care of our blossom end rot problem with the tomatoes. This time our problem appeared over here. So with our peppers, we did have one pepper that was turning yellow. It was in this way, and it developed some blossom end rot. So I had to do the same thing with the pepper system as we did with the tomato system just last week. I didn't get it all on film, but I did get part of it, so this is what we have. I got so wrapped up in my process today, I forgot to record. Let me show you what I've been at. So as we saw yesterday, we have one pepper in here that's developed some blossom end rot. That tells me that there is probably a calcium deficiency in this system. So just like we did with the tomatoes a week or so ago, we're now flushing all of our NFT system, and we're replacing the nutrients with all fresh nutrients. The water we see coming out down here is just where I had used the hose and put fresh water in up here to try to clean as many of the nutrients out of the system as possible. I have the reservoir out in the yard, and that one is, I'm going to clean that one out now. And then we're going to put all fresh nutrients in and start things up again. So we're just going to let this drain. Unlike the tomatoes in the Dutch water bucket system, this system here will drain to a large extent. So I have a very limited time to get the nutrients back in here so that the roots do not start to dry and the plants start to wilt. So we have some algae in here, and we're going to clean out as much of that as we can with the amount of time we have. Remember a while ago, we had a slug that was getting at the peppers, and we didn't know what happened to him. He had eaten some of our pepper leaves, and then he had disappeared. So I assumed that I got him with the salt. Well, I found him down in the reservoir. I guess he went for the water and didn't realize he couldn't get back out, so he drowned. I'm just cleaning this with some dish detergent and water. Likewise, over here, I have my little container. I've thrown a bit of dish detergent in there. I'm going to add a bit of water to that. Take a bit of this right here for now. And we're going to clean that the same way. Compared to many hydroponic systems, this is not a big amount of algae, especially when you consider how long this has been in use. I'm after getting several months out of this now. Okay, and I have a little tiny bit of algae up here on the lid. Give that a little bit of a rub as well. Now I'm going to get the hose and I'll hose that stuff down. All of these containers aren't for hydroponics. Some of these are for our fishery. We currently have what's called a food fishery on the go, which allows us to go out 3 days a week and catch codfish. All right, that should do for now. That little bit of soap that's left in there, that'll only help the system. It'll help to keep the algae down. Carry these back down and put in place. Now we have the reservoir back in place. The drain line is connected, so it does not go through my switch system right now. And I'm just putting the feed tube back on, like so. Now we need some nutrients in our system so we can start the pumping process. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take out this plant here and feed through there. I'm going to be starting this system off with 30 liters of nutrient. I think that will bring it close to full. Now that we have some larger bottles that are sealing much better for our nutrient, we're able to mix up enough for 10 liters at a time, which works out perfect for the size of the buckets that we have. So we'll take these and put them directly into the NFT, let them run down into the reservoir. There we go. And that should fill the system. After one of these is in, we'll probably start up the pump again. Here we go. Okay, first of all, let's just move our fans back out of the way. We don't need to be mixing electricity with water. Now, this plant here, we're going to take that one out. Let's have a look at the roots. Oh, the roots aren't too bad. Last year, the roots were about 5, 6, 7 times this thick. So it's telling me that it's getting lots of nutrients with the few roots that it does have. I would say most of the plants are like that. I'm just going to stand that one on the shelf for now. And we're going to pour our nutrients right in here. Okay, so we have the nutrients in there now, and they're going to run down the length of this. This is on a slight angle across all the roots, and then they drain into the reservoir. If we look down there, we can probably see them coming out. Let's get another one and put in there. Oh, don't do that. Under ideal circumstances, if I had the layout a little bit different, I would be feeding this right at the top of the NFT Okay, we have the pump started again now, and we can see that the nutrients are flowing from the top part of the NFT into the bottom. The NFT system seems to hold quite a bit of nutrient at one time, so the reservoir is probably a bit low now because there's so much in the system. I can still see the pump in the reservoir sticking out of the water a little bit. So let's get the other bucket. We'll put that one in. Okay. Try to do it half tidy anyway. Not a big deal if I spill a bit of this, other than if it goes into any of the trays below or anywhere like that, or pools anywhere, there's likely to be a bit of algae will grow there. No big deal. All right. So once again, we can see a good flow of nutrient there. The pump is pumping it well. Over here we can see that it's returning to the reservoir, and we have a nice level down there now. So these guys all have fresh nutrient that should have the proper amount of calcium in it for their growth. So because of the blossom end rot on this one pepper in here, I'm going to snip it off. Here we have a better look at it. And I'm going to cut that off, and we will use that pepper. I'm assuming, just like the tomatoes, that we can cut that off as a bad spot and it will be fine. We'll keep an eye on the rest of them and check them periodically to see if we can see any problems with any others. Now we better get this one pepper here back down in the system. We'll drop it right down there. A little bit of a tight fit. It knows it wants to go in there. It just hasn't agreed to do so yet. There we go. All right, so its roots are now down in nutrients again. And I think we have this task completed. We'll move the fans back over. And we'll get everything turned on again. This one here for the tomatoes. This one here for the upper airflow. Okay. This one here is starting to change color too. Though it's small, it is starting. I don't see any other sign of any blossom end rot problems, but we'll keep an eye on them over the next few days. Okay, we have that task done. All new nutrients. That should fix that problem. Now that we've solved the problem with our blossom end rot, we see that our peppers are doing really well. We're getting a lot of change now in their color. We've got some orange ones, some yellow ones, nice bright yellow down here. We've got some red ones. So all of these started off as green, and then as they mature, they change color. These back here look like they're going to be yellow. So they're doing quite well again now. I only found that one that had the blossom end rot on it. But it is nice to see a lot of these larger ones changing. Once they change and we get them picked, then they'll free up more nutrients for the rest of the plant. Let's take a quick run out in the garden and see how things are out there. Looks like everything in the garden is doing quite well. Our peas, tried one earlier there. Let me find a nice plump one here. So these are forming really nicely. There's one there that's nice and plump. These are super sweet, really, really good. So they're formed nicely. They could probably grow another bit. A lot of them aren't as plump as that yet. But over the next few days, these peas are really good, really sweet. I've been watering everything out here in the garden every evening. We haven't had any rain for over 2 weeks now. Temperatures every day are up in the high 20s, low 30s. So they really need some water. Now these here, all of these potatoes, these over here, they're dying off now. So we're going to give them another few days for the rest of the green leaves to go. And I'm going to snip those and get rid of them. So we'll just have the potatoes growing in the ground then. Of course, we'll pull these extra few weeds here as well. These potatoes over here, we're going to let them go for another bit. Those down at that end, I've got to look at my notes and see. I think maybe some of those down there are dying off early because there's some of these. But I've got to check that. Carrots, well, they're loving this. They seem to love the sun, and I water those every evening as well. They're growing really nice. You can see right here, look at the ground cracked right open. Look, it's been so dry, but I dare not water them during the daytime when the sun is hot. I was explaining to somebody today about watering stuff in the middle of the day. Every droplet of water is like a lens. And if you put water on the leaves in the daytime, it's like a little lens, and the sun goes through that, and it forms a real hot spot, just like a magnifying glass, and that's what burns up your plants when you water them in the day. I'm noticing over the past little while that many more onions here are bulbing up now. They're doing really well. They're going to have another couple months of growing yet. Now these here being the second carrots that we put in, they're also doing wonderful. Over here we got a little bit of a mix in our long blue potatoes. Some of them are still green here, while some more have completely died away. So we'll clean this stuff up as we get rid of the leaves on the other potatoes. We're after getting 3 or 4 zucchinis now. You can see that the slugs have been coming in here and getting some of the ones we have here. They're doing quite the job on them. Let's head back over to the greenhouse and maybe pick a few of those tomatoes that are there, because the last thing we want is to have those falling off the vine. Okay, let's pick ourselves a few tomatoes. There we go. Look at these couple right here. Oh, they're just ready to fall off. Some more right here. For every one we pick, we free up nutrients for the rest of the plant. Whoop! They're jumping. They're jumping off. No, those little ones in there are hardly ready yet, but we do have a nice one here. And we have a couple nice ones right here. Beautiful tomatoes. They are really, really firm too. Really nice. So there's today's haul. Over the next couple of days, I can see we're going to have quite a few other ones that are going to be ripe and ready for picking. For now, I'm going to head in the house with these, and we'll see you next time. Right here in the greenhouse.